The large spaceship landed on Earth 3 years ago. It was the first time humans met beings from other planets. People were scared at first, but also curious. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Concord, a group of many different species, who traveled between stars. June Park watched the landing from a safe distance. He was tall and slim, with short black hair that was always neatly combed. As Earth's top diplomat, it was his job to speak for all humans. He straightened his blue suit and took a deep breath. "We must show them our best," he told his team. The aliens stepped out of their ship. They looked strange to human eyes. Some had 4 arms, others had skin that changed colors, and the leaders, called the Vakari, stood on 2 legs but had faces that reminded June of insects with large eyes and small moving parts around their mouths. That first meeting led to many more. The Galactic Concord wanted Earth to join them. They promised to share technology, medicine, and protection. In return, they wanted some of Earth's unique minerals and plants. After 6 months of talks, Earth's governments agreed to join. 3 years passed. Now June walked through the Concord outpost near New Seoul. It was a busy place where humans and aliens worked together. Children often visited on school trips to learn about space and meet friendly aliens. "Good morning, Diplomati, Park," said a blue-skinned alien with 3 eyes. "Good morning, Ambassador Zril," June replied with a slight bow. June was proud of what they had built, but lately he felt worried. More and more Vakari warships had arrived in Earth's solar system. The Vakari said they needed to protect Earth from space pirates, but June had not heard of any pirate attacks. That evening, June returned to his home outside the city. His wife Hyun was in the kitchen cooking dinner. She was shorter than June, with long black hair tied back. She worked as a scientist studying alien biology. "How was your day?" she asked as she chopped vegetables. "The same," June said. "More Vakari ships arrived today." Hyun frowned. "My lab partner says the same thing is happening at the research center. More Vakari, fewer of the other species." Their daughter Minji ran into the kitchen. She was 12 years old with bright eyes and her mother's smile. In her hands she held a tablet showing alien writing. "Dad, I learned 2 new Vakari words today," she said excitedly. June smiled and patted her head. "That's wonderful. You'll be a better translator than me soon." Minji had a special talent for languages. She could already speak Korean, English, and 3 alien languages. She loved visiting the Concord outpost and talking with the aliens. "Can I go to the special event at the outpost next week?" Minji asked. "Our school is taking us to see the new science display." June and Hyun exchanged glances. They were proud of their daughter's interest, but also protective. "Of course you can," Hyun said. "I'll be working that day too, so I can check on you." After dinner, when Minji was in bed, June sat in his office looking at his computer. He had received a secret message from another planet that had joined the Concord 10 years ago. The message was troubling. "First they came as friends," it read. "Then they took control of our minds. Now we cannot leave our cities without Vakari permission." June had received 3 similar messages from different planets. All told the same story. The Vakari came peacefully, then slowly took over. A soft knock came at his door. It was Tai, his assistant. Tai was younger than June, with a strong build from his years in Earth's military before becoming a diplomat. "You asked to see me, sir?" Tai said. June nodded and showed him the messages. "What do you think?" Tai read them carefully. "My military contacts have noticed the increase in Vakari ships. They're bringing more weapons than needed for protection. I'm worried, Tai. I helped bring the Concord to Earth. If they have bad intentions, then it's our duty to find out," Tai finished. "I have friends who can gather information quietly." "Do it," June said. "But be careful. We must be certain before we make any accusations." The next morning, June took a shuttle to the Concord space station orbiting Earth. The station was huge, with sections for each species. The Vakari section had grown larger recently. In the main meeting hall, representatives from 20 alien species gathered around a large table. June took his seat as Earth's voice. The Vakari High Commander, Grell, led the meeting. Grell was taller than most Vakari, with dark green skin and eyes that seemed to look everywhere at once. "We have concerns about security in this sector," Grell announced. "We will increase our military presence by 15%. June spoke up. "Commander Grell, we appreciate your concern, but Earth has not experienced any security threats. Perhaps such a large increase is not necessary." Grell's eyes fixed on June. "Diplomat Park, the threats may not be visible to you. The Concord has enemies. We must be prepared." A representative from the Talon species, one of the oldest in the Concord, spoke in a soft voice. "Perhaps the commander could share information about these threats?" Grell made a sharp clicking sound. "The information is classified. You must trust our judgment." After the meeting, the Talon representative, a small creature named Lear with pale skin that seemed to glow, approached June. "Diplomat Park, your caution is wise," Lear whispered. "The Vakari have a pattern. My people have watched it for centuries." "What pattern?" June asked. "They protect, then control, then own," Lear said. "Be vigilant." Before June could ask more, Lear walked away. On his way back to Earth, June looked out the shuttle window at his blue planet below. He had always dreamed of humans joining the stars. Now he wondered if that dream might become a nightmare. That night, June couldn't sleep. He watched Hyun, breathing softly beside him. Down the hall, Minji slept surrounded by language books and pictures of alien worlds. June thought of the school trip to the outpost next week. Something didn't feel right. He got up and sent a message to Tae. "Increase security for the school visit. Use people we trust completely." Tae responded immediately. "Already done, sir. I have the same feeling." Neither man knew how right they were to be worried. Neither knew what was coming. In just 7 days, everything would change forever. The morning of the school visit was bright and clear. The sun shone over New Seoul, making the metal and glass of the Concord outpost gleam. 137 children from 5 different schools arrived in yellow buses. They lined up outside the main entrance, excited and chattering. Minji Park stood with her classmates, her black hair tied back in a neat ponytail. She wore her favorite blue jacket with the Earth Concord friendship pin on the collar. In her backpack, she carried a small gift for the Nuri language teacher who had been helping her learn their clicking speech. "Stay with your groups," the teachers reminded the children. "Remember to be respectful to our alien friends." The children nodded and followed their guides into the outpost. The main hall was decorated with banners celebrating 3 years of Earth's membership in the Galactic Concord. Tables displayed alien art, technology, and food samples. In one corner, a Helden musician played a strange instrument that changed colors as it made sounds. Minji and her friends went straight to the language center. She loved learning how different species communicated. Her best friend June was more interested in the technology display. "Look at this," June said, pointing to a small floating ball. "It's a Vakari teaching device. It can share information directly with your brain." Minji smiled. "Maybe it can help me learn Vakari faster." Across the outpost, Hyun Park worked in her research lab. She wore a white coat and protective glasses as she studied alien plant samples. Through the lab window, she could see the children moving between displays in the main hall. She spotted Minji talking with a tall blue Nuri teacher. Her daughter looked so happy. Hyun's lab partner, an older woman named Sun, looked up from her microscope. "Your daughter is here today, yes? She has quite a gift for languages." "Yes," Hyun said proudly. "She wants to be a translator for the Concord. Someday." Sun was about to reply when a loud alarm started blaring throughout the outpost. Red lights flashed on the walls. Hyun had never heard this alarm before. "What is that?" she asked, suddenly afraid. Sun looked confused. "It's a security alarm, but I don't know why." The lab door burst open. 3 Vakari soldiers rushed in, holding energy weapons. Their insect-like faces showed no emotion, but their body language was aggressive. "Stay where you are," the lead soldier ordered. "There is a security threat." Hyun thought of Minji in the main hall. "What threat?" "There, Are children visiting today? The Vakari soldier ignored her. He spoke into a communication device on his wrist. Science section secured, moving to Sector 3. As the soldiers left, Hyun and Sun looked at each other. Something felt very wrong. Hyun moved to the lab window and looked out at the main hall. What she saw made her blood freeze. More Vakari soldiers were entering the hall, surrounding the groups of children. Captain Grell, the Vakari commander June had mentioned, stood on a raised platform. He was speaking into a device, but Hyun couldn't hear the words. His face looked angry. One of the children, a small boy, started crying from fear. He tried to run to his teacher. A Vakari soldier pointed his weapon at the boy. Hyun banged on the lab window. "No!" she screamed. At that moment, Captain Grell made a sharp gesture with his hand. And then the unthinkable happened. The Vakari soldiers opened fire on the children. Bright beams of energy cut through the air. Children fell. Teachers tried to shield their students with their own bodies. The Nuri language teacher grabbed 3 children, including Minji, and pushed them toward a side door. Hyun ran from the lab, pushing past Sun, who tried to stop her. She had to reach Minji. She had to save her daughter. The hallway seemed endless as she sprinted toward the main hall. When she burst through the doors, the scene was like a nightmare. Children were screaming. Some lay on the floor, not moving. The air smelled of burned metal and worse things. Vakari soldiers moved methodically through the hall, still firing. Hyun saw Minji near the side door. She was helping a younger boy who had fallen. The Nuri teacher lay on the ground nearby, not moving. "Minji!" Hyun screamed. Minji looked up. Her face brightened for a moment when she saw her mother. Then a Vakari soldier turned toward them. He raised his weapon. Hyun ran faster than she had ever moved in her life. She was not going to make it in time. The soldier fired, a bright flash. Minji fell. Hyun reached her daughter and pulled her into her arms. Minji's eyes were open but empty. The front of her blue jacket was burned black. "No, no, no," Hyun whispered, rocking her daughter. "Please, no." The Vakari soldier stood over, them weapon still raised. Hyun looked up at him, her eyes filled with hatred and pain. "Why?" she asked. "They are just children." The soldier's alien face showed nothing. He spoke into his communication device. "Threat neutralized in this section." He fired again. Pain exploded in Hyun's shoulder. Then again, her side burned. Oh, third shot hit her leg. She fell, still holding Minji's body. The world went dark. Far above Earth, June Park sat in a meeting room on the conquered diplomatic vessel. He was discussing trade agreements with representatives from 7 species. His communication device buzzed in his pocket, but protocol required all devices to be silenced during formal meetings. He ignored it. When it buzzed for the 5th time, in 3 minutes he excused himself and stepped into the hallway. 23 missed messages, all marked urgent. He opened the first one and felt the world collapse around him. "Attack at New Seoul Outpost, multiple casualties, children targeted." His hands shaking, he tried to call Hyun. No answer. He called Tae. No answer. He was about to rush to the shuttle bay when 4 Vakari guards approached him. "Diplomat Park," the lead guard said. "For your safety, you must come with us immediately." "My family is at the outpost," June said, his voice rising. "I need to get back to Earth now." "There has been an incident," the guard said, his voice flat. "The situation is being managed. You will be kept informed. For now, you must be protected." "Protected? From what?" June demanded. The guard did not answer. Instead, the 4 Vakari surrounded June and escorted him to a secure room. The door locked behind them. June pounded on the door. "Let me out. I need to contact Earth." No one answered. The communication panel in the room was disabled. Through the small window, June could see Vakari soldiers in the hallway blocking access. He was a prisoner. For 6 long hours, June remained trapped. His mind filled with terrible images. Was Minji safe? Was Hyun alive? What was happening on Earth? In the outpost, Earth security forces finally broke through the Vakari blockade. Medical teams rushed in, trying to save those they could. They found Hyun, barely alive, still holding Minji's body. They gently separated mother from daughter. 112 children were dead. 25 were wounded, 15 so badly that doctors feared they would not survive. 8 teachers had died trying to protect their students. And still, June Park, Earth's top diplomat, remained cut off from all communication as the Vakari prepared their story about a regrettable response to a security threat. The massacre was complete. The greatest crime against humanity since Earth joined the stars had been committed, and the reckoning was about to begin. 6 hours after the massacre, June Park still did not know if his family was alive or dead. The secure room where the Vakari had placed him had no working communications. He had tried everything to escape, but the door was locked from the outside. Through the small window he could see armed guards. June sat on the floor, his back against the wall. His normally neat hair was messy from running his hands through it again and again. His tie hung loose around his neck. For the first time in his diplomatic career, he felt completely helpless. The door suddenly opened. A Vakari officer stood there, flanked by 2 guards. "Diplomat Park," the officer said. "You may now return to your quarters. The situation has been contained." June jumped to his feet. "What situation? What happened at the outpost? Is my family safe?" The officer's face showed no emotion. "There was an unfortunate security incident. I have no information about specific humans." June pushed past him into the hallway. "I demand to speak with Earth immediately." "The ambassador will brief you first," the officer said. "He is waiting in your quarters." When June reached his room on the diplomatic vessel, Ambassador Leth was there. Leth was one of the highest-ranking Vakari in the Concord. His green skin had darker spots that showed his age and rank. "Diplomat Park," Leth said. "Please sit down." "I want to contact Earth now," June demanded. Leth placed a small device on the table between them. "First, you should understand what happened. There was a security breach at the New Seoul outpost. Our soldiers responded to protect Concord assets. There were children visiting today," June said, his voice shaking. "My daughter was there. Regrettably, some humans were harmed during the necessary security response," Leth said. His voice was flat, as if discussing the weather. "We have prepared a statement for you to deliver to Earth's governments." Leth pushed a tablet toward June. On the screen was a prepared speech expressing regret for the unfortunate incident and calling for continued cooperation with the Concord. "You expect me to read this without even knowing if my family is alive?" June asked in disbelief. "It would be best for Earth-Concord relations," Leth said. "After you deliver this statement, you may contact your planet." June picked up the tablet and pretended to read it. His mind was racing. Something terrible had happened and the Vakari were trying to control his response. "I will address the Concord Assembly," June said quietly. Leth seemed pleased. "Good. The assembly will convene in 3 hours. The statement—" "Not with your statement," June interrupted. "With my own words, and I want to contact Earth now, or I will tell the assembly you held me prisoner during a crisis." Leth's eyes narrowed, but he nodded. "Very well. Use your communication system. But remember that hasty words can damage diplomatic relations forever." As soon as Leth left, June activated his communication device. The screen showed dozens of urgent messages. He called the Earth government first. The president's face appeared on the screen. She looked like she had been crying. "June," she said, "I'm so sorry." June felt cold fear grip his heart. "What happened? Please, my family. Hyun is alive," the president said quickly. "She's in the hospital. She was shot 3 times trying to save the children." "And Minji?" June asked, afraid of the answer. The president's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry, June. Minji didn't survive. The Vakari soldiers, they shot her while she was helping a younger child." June couldn't speak. He couldn't breathe. The room seemed to spin around him. "June," the president continued, 112 children are dead. 15 more might not survive their injuries. 8 teachers died trying to protect them. The Vakari are claiming they detected weapons, but no weapons were found. This was a massacre. I need to see Hyun," June finally managed to say. "We're working on getting you back to Earth," the president said. "The Vicari are delaying all shuttles. They say it's for security, but we think they're buying time to control the story." After talking with the president, June used all his diplomatic contacts to establish a direct connection to the hospital where Hyun was being treated. When her face appeared on the screen, he had to hold back a cry. Her beautiful face was bruised and cut. Bandages covered her shoulder and side. Her eyes, once so bright and curious, now held only pain and rage. "June," she whispered. "They killed our baby." "I know," he said, his voice breaking. "I'm trying to get back to you." "They hunted them, June," Hyun said, her voice growing stronger with anger. "They hunted our children like animals. I saw it all. Minji was trying to help a little boy escape. She was being so brave. And they shot her in the back." June closed his eyes, trying to block the mental image. "I'm going to address the Concord Assembly. I'll make them pay for this." "No empty diplomatic words," Hyun said fiercely. "No gentle protests. They must face justice, June. Real justice." "They will," June promised. "I swear it on Minji's memory." For the next 2 hours, June prepared his speech. He collected data, images, and testimonies from survivors. He researched an ancient Concord law that had not been used in centuries, and he changed from his rumpled suit into a formal black diplomatic uniform. 3 hours after speaking with Hyun, June stood outside the Concord Assembly chamber. The great hall was filled with representatives from all 217 species in the Concord. The Vicari delegation sat in their special section, looking calm and confident. Tai had finally managed to reach the diplomatic vessel. His face was grim as he joined June. "I was at the outpost," Tai said quietly. "I tried to save them, but the Vicari locked down all the doors. By the time we broke through—" "You did what you could," June said, placing a hand on his friend's shoulder. "Now help me do what must be done." "What are you planning?" Tai asked. "Justice," June answered simply. When June was called to speak, he walked slowly to the central podium. The chamber fell silent. The speech was being broadcast to Earth and across Concord space. Billions of beings were watching. June looked out at the assembly. He did not use the prepared notes that rested on the podium. 3 years ago, he began, Earth joined the galactic Concord with hope and trust. Today I stand before you with grief and rage. His voice was steady despite the tears that began to stream down his face. He described what had happened at the New Soul outpost. Then, one by one, he read the names of every child killed, their ages, their dreams. "My daughter, Minji Park, age 12, he said, his voice finally breaking. She dreamed of being a translator to help species understand each other better. She was shot while helping a younger child to safety. He showed images on the large screens, around the chamber. Not the most graphic ones, but enough to show the truth. Children lying still. Teachers dead beside their students. Hyun, bloody and unconscious, still clutching Minji's body. Many representatives turned away. Some wept, their alien bodies shaking with emotions that crossed species barriers. The Vicari delegation sat unmoved. The Vicari soldiers did not face armed insurgents, June continued. They faced children with artwork in their hands, children who believed in the promise of peace. Then June did something no one expected. He invoked the right of justified retribution, an ancient Concord law that had not been used in over 700 years. As Earth's appointed representative, I hereby declare total war against the Vicari Imperium for the massacre of our children. We do not seek conflict with other Concord members, but we will no longer recognize Vicari authority in any form. We will not rest until justice has been served. The chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted questions and objections. Some stood in support. The Vicari delegation rose as one, their faces finally showing emotion, anger. June raised, his voice over the noise. To those who stand with the Vicari, know this: humanity has spent its existence fighting, against nature, against each other. We had hoped that era was behind us. We were wrong. You have reminded us of who we were and what we can become when threatened. As he left the podium, the oldest member of the Concord, a Talon elder named Var, approached him. Your species cannot hope to defeat the Vakari military, Var said softly. They outnumber you significantly. June looked at the ancient being. Numbers have never determined humanity's fate. Our history is filled with the ruins of empires that thought themselves invincible. As June walked out of the chamber, Ambassador Leth blocked his path. You have doomed your species, the Vakari hissed. June met his gaze without flinching. No, I have doomed yours. After June declared war, he returned to Earth on a small, fast ship that Tai had secured. The Vakari tried to stop them, but several non-Vakari Concord members helped them escape. It seemed not everyone in the Concord supported what the Vakari had done. When June reached Earth, he went straight to the hospital. Hyun was still recovering from her wounds. Her shoulder and side were bandaged, and she sat in a wheelchair. Her face was pale, but her eyes were clear and determined. You did it, she said when June entered her room. You spoke for our daughter, for all the children. June knelt beside her wheelchair and took her hands. I declared war against the most powerful military force in the Concord. Many think I have doomed Earth. Hyun squeezed his hands. Then many will be surprised by what happens next. The Earth governments met in an emergency session. Leaders from every nation gathered to discuss the declaration of war. Some were afraid, others were angry, all were uncertain. The Vakari have thousands of warships, said one leader. We have barely begun to build spacecraft that can leave our solar system. They have weapons that can destroy entire cities from orbit, said another. How can we fight such an enemy? June stood before them, calm despite his grief. We fight because we must. We fight with the knowledge that comes from thousands of years of human conflict. We fight with the one advantage the Vakari do not understand. And what is that? Asked a skeptical general. Adaptation, June answered. Humans adapt faster than any species in the Concord. The Vakari have conquered worlds for millennia, always using the same tactics. They have never faced an enemy like us. The meeting lasted for 12 hours. In the end, Earth united behind the declaration of war. Every nation contributed resources, scientists, and soldiers to the cause. Outside the meeting hall, reporters waited for news. Cameras broadcast to billions of worried humans around the world. June stepped up to speak, his face solemn but determined. Today, humanity stands as one, he said. We did not choose this conflict. It was forced upon us in the blood of our children. But now that war has come, we will face it together. The Vakari believe us weak. They will learn otherwise. 3. Days after the declaration, Vakari warships entered Earth orbit. 20 massive vessels, each capable of destroying a city. They positioned themselves over major population centers: New York, Beijing, London, Moscow, Tokyo. Admiral Krell, the Vakari fleet commander, sent a message to Earth's governments. Your diplomat has made a foolish declaration, he said, his insect-like, face-filling screens worldwide. We offer you one chance to surrender, remove Park from office, hand over all humans who witnessed the security operation at New Seoul, submit to Vakari authority. You have 6 hours to comply, or we will demonstrate our power. The world watched and waited. Military leaders prepared for the worst. Civilians in major cities were evacuated to underground shelters. The deadline approached. But June and Tae were not waiting passively. While the Vakari threatened Earth, they were meeting secretly on Luna Base, Earth's moon colony. With them were representatives from 28 species, all members of the Concord, but none of them Vakari allies. The meeting room was strange, filled with beings of all shapes and sizes. Some breathed different air mixtures. Others needed special gravity adjustments, but all had come for the same reason. The massacre of Earth's children was the final proof, said Zeke, a representative of the Nuri. The Nuri were tall, blue-skinned beings known for their stealth technology. The Vakari have gone too far. They have dominated the Concord for too long, agreed Heldon Prime, leader of the Helden Collective. The Helden were small, with large heads and 6 fingers on each hand. Their mathematical abilities were unmatched. For centuries we have watched them conquer and control. We have been afraid to stand against them. Tay leaned forward. What changed? Your diplomat's courage, said Lona, an Orathi engineer. The Orathi looked almost human except for their golden skin and 4 eyes. No species has ever dared to declare total war against the Vakari. It has given us hope. One by one, the representatives shared their stories. The Nuri had lost 3 colony worlds to Vakari protection that turned into occupation. The Helden had been forced to share their predictive algorithms. The Orathi engineers had watched their defense systems copied and used against other races. Most surprising was the presence of Varn, a representative of the Vaskin. The Vaskin had once been the Vakari's closest allies until a mysterious falling out centuries ago. We know the Vakari better than anyone, Varn said. His reptilian face was scarred, his voice deep. They believe conquest is their right. They see other species as tools or obstacles, nothing more. Why help us now? June asked. Earth is young, unknown. We have little to offer. Because you did what no one else dared, Varn replied. You named their crime, you demanded justice, and most importantly, you showed no fear. By the end of the meeting, the Liberation Alliance was formed. 28 species with Earth at its center signed a treaty of mutual defense against the Vakari. Each would contribute their unique strengths. The Nuri would share their stealth, technology, making human ships nearly invisible to Vakari sensors. The Helden would provide their predictive algorithms to anticipate Vakari tactics. The Orathi would upgrade Earth's defense systems with their legendary shield technology, and the Vaskin would share their knowledge of Vakari weaknesses. When June returned to Earth with the signed treaty, the 6-hour deadline had almost expired. He went directly to the Global Defense Command Center, deep underground. There, Earth's military leaders waited for the Vakari attack. We do not stand alone, June announced, placing the treaty on the table. The Liberation Alliance stands with us. The generals looked at the document in disbelief. These species, one said, scanning the signatures. Some of them have technologies we've only dreamed of. And they're willing to share them with us? Asked another. Why? Because the Vakari have made enemies throughout the galaxy, June explained. We were simply the first to stand up to them. As the deadline expired, Admiral Krell's face appeared on the command screens again. Your time is up, he said. You have chosen destruction. The Vakari warships began to power up their weapons. Earth's defenses prepared for the worst. But then, something unexpected happened. 60 ships appeared suddenly in Earth orbit. They were not human ships. They belonged to the Alliance members. They positioned themselves between the Vakari fleet and Earth. Admiral Krell's face showed surprise for the first time. What is this? This is the Liberation Alliance, June replied, his voice calm. Earth does not stand alone. Your threats against civilian populations violate conquered law. Withdraw now. The Vakari admiral hesitated. His fleet was still larger, but he had expected an easy victory, not an organized resistance. After a tense silence, he spoke again. This changes nothing. It only delays the inevitable. We will return with a proper battle fleet. The Vakari ships slowly moved away from Earth, retreating to the edge of the solar system. It was not a victory, but it was the first time the Vakari had backed down. In the command center, there was no celebration. Everyone knew this was just the beginning. They will return, Tai said, with more ships, more weapons. Yes, June agreed. But it gives us time to prepare. Hyun, who had insisted on being present despite her injuries, touched the alliance treaty. The Vakari think in terms of numbers and firepower, she said. They don't understand what really makes humanity dangerous. And what is that? Asked one of the generals. Hyun looked up, her eyes hard with determination. When backed into a corner, humans don't surrender. We evolve. We adapt. We change the rules of the game. The Vakari have been playing the same game for millennia. We're about to teach them a new one. The war that June Park declared lasted 5 years. It was not the quick revenge he had first imagined, but a long struggle that spread across 53 star systems. What began as Earth's fight for justice became a galactic movement for freedom, from Vakari control. 1 year after the declaration of war, June stood on the bridge of the Alliance flagship Justice. The ship had been built with technology from 7 different species. Through the large window, he could see the battle raging around a distant planet called Navara. It was the 10th world they had fought to free from Vakari occupation. Status. Report, June said to the ship's captain. A human woman named Kim. The Vakari defenses are stronger than we expected, Captain Kim replied. But our new shield technology is holding. The Nuri stealth ships have taken out their main weapons platform. June nodded. In the past year, he had changed from a diplomat to a war leader. His once neat hair was now touched with gray. His face showed new lines of worry and determination. But his eyes still burned with the same purpose that had driven him since the day of the massacre. And the civilians? He asked. Being evacuated as planned, Kim assured him. The Vaskin ground teams are protecting them. This had become the pattern of the war. The Alliance would identify a world under Vakari control, evacuate the local population, and then engage the Vakari forces. They were careful to avoid civilian casualties, unlike their enemy. On Earth, Hyun led the intelligence operations from a secure facility under the rebuilt New Seoul. Her wounds had healed, but she walked with a slight limp from the damage to her leg. Her work had been crucial to the war effort. By studying Vakari communication patterns, she had helped the Alliance predict their movements and tactics. They're adapting, Hyun told her team of analysts. The Vakari are changing their battle plans. They've never had to do that before. Her assistant, a young woman named Jin, looked up from her screen. Is that good or bad for us? Hyun's face was serious. Both. It means we're forcing them to change which they hate. But it also means the war will last longer. They're learning. Tae had become the Alliance's chief military coordinator. He worked with alien species to combine their strengths and cover their weaknesses. His office walls were covered with maps of star systems and battle plans. The Vakari fleet is regrouping at these coordinates, he told a group of Alliance commanders. They're gathering their forces for a major offensive. Against Earth? Asked an Orathi commander, her 4 eyes blinking with concern. No, Tae said. Against Vaskin Prime. They want to punish their former allies for joining us. The commanders looked at each other. The Vaskin homeworld was a key Alliance base. If it fell, they would lose a vital ally and strategic position. We need to warn them, the Nuri representative said. Send our fastest ships. Already done, Tae replied, and I've requested reinforcements from all Alliance worlds. This will be the largest battle of the war so far. As the war entered its 3rd year, more species joined the Alliance. The Vakaris. Long history of conquest and control was being exposed. Worlds that had suffered silently for centuries now saw a chance for freedom. June worked tirelessly to build these new alliances. He traveled from planet to planet, speaking to leaders and citizens alike. His message was always the same. This was not just humanity's fight, but a struggle for justice throughout the galaxy. The Vakari began this war by killing our children, he told a gathering on the world of Teller. But we continue it for all beings who deserve to live free from fear and oppression. In the 4th year of the war, the Alliance made a surprising discovery. During a battle over a mining colony, they captured a high-ranking Vakari official. When they searched the official's records, they found evidence of division within Vakari society. There's a resistance movement, Hyun explained to June during one of their rare moments together. They sat in their small apartment in New Seoul, looking at the data. Not all Vakari support the war or their government's policies. June was surprised. After all this time, we thought they were all the same. Hyun shook her head. No species is all the same. We should know that better than anyone. This discovery changed their strategy. Instead of just fighting Vakari forces, the Alliance began to communicate with the Vakari resistance. They shared information about the true nature of the war and the massacres committed by Vakari military leaders. On the Vakari homeworld, these messages reached Sel, a professor who had secretly opposed her government for decades. Sel had argued against expansion and conquest, calling instead for peaceful cooperation with other species. For this, she had been removed from her teaching position and placed under surveillance. The humans are not the monsters our leaders claim, Sel told her underground group of dissidents. They are fighting because our military murdered their children. Wouldn't we do the same? Slowly, the resistance grew. What began as small protests became organized opposition. Vakari citizens began to question the war and the leaders who had started it. In the 5th year of the war, the Vakari Revolution began. Military bases were surrounded by civilian protesters. Government buildings were occupied. The High Command, which had ruled for thousands of years, faced something they had never encountered before: their own people demanding change. The revolution lasted 3 months. When it ended, the military leadership had been overthrown. Sel and other reform leaders took control of the government. Their first action was to contact the Alliance and request peace talks. On the 5th anniversary of the New Seoul massacre, June Park stood again before the conquered assembly. The Great Hall was quiet as he walked to the podium. Beside him walked Sel, now the Vakari representative. Together, they presented the Children's Peace Accord. The document established new conquered laws protecting all juvenile beings regardless of species. It created strict rules for military forces and systems to hold them accountable for their actions. Most importantly, it acknowledged the crimes of the past and created a path toward healing. 5 years ago, I declared war because I saw no other path to justice, June said to the assembly. Today, I declare peace not because justice has been fully realized, but because we have created a system where it can be pursued without bloodshed. Sel spoke after him. My species began this conflict with an unforgivable act. We cannot undo that horror, but we can ensure it never happens again to any child of any species. That evening, June, Hyun, and Tae visited the memorial garden in New Seoul. 137 trees had been planted there, one for each child who had been at the outpost that day. Minji's tree stood in the center, now tall enough to provide shade over a small pond. She would be proud of what you've accomplished, Hyun said, taking June's hand. What we've accomplished, he corrected her. I declared the war, but you and Tae shaped it into something more than revenge. Tae looked toward the new Concord embassy visible in the distance. Representatives from 70 species now worked there under new principles of cooperation and respect. Humans weren't the strongest or most advanced species, he said, but we changed the Concord in ways no one thought possible. As darkness fell, families of the lost children gathered for the annual remembrance ceremony. Among them were Vakari, reformists who had come to pay their respects and seek healing. In the soft evening light, June saw not just the cost of the conflict, but its meaning. The children of New Seoul had not died in vain. Their legacy was a transformed galaxy where power alone no longer determined destiny. The war is over, June whispered to Minji's memorial. Now the harder work begins. Later that night, June and Hyun stood on the balcony of their home, looking up at the stars. Ships from dozens of species moved through Earth's orbit, symbols of the new connections that had been forged. Do you think we did the right thing? June asked quietly. Was it worth the cost? Hyun leaned against him. Nothing was worth losing, Minji. Nothing ever could be. But she would want us to build something better from our grief. I think we have. Above them, the stars continued their ancient dance, witnessing the end of one chapter in humanity's story among them, and the beginning of another.